'Twas the day before winter break, and all through our school, the teachers were fidgeting while trying to act cool.
The books were stacked in the library with care. Mrs. Bush hoped that eager students would soon be there.
Mrs. Zack and Mrs. Daly, all snug in their chairs, sight words and vocab, even math to prepare.
Miss Heidemann had drums and maracas to shake, while Mr. Manning looked forward to a long winter's break.
The hallways were hung with holiday art. Miss Kershaw started in November to get a head start.
When out in the hall there arose such a clatter, Mrs. Weber sprang from her desk to see what was the matter.
Away to the door, Mrs. Cologne flew like a flash, peeped through Mrs. Lavallo's window, and fogged up the glass.
The elves had arrived to see the children's faces, as Mrs. Parkins taught them ones and tens places.
More rapid than reindeer, the little elves came. Mrs. Young and Miss Elward called them by name.
Walk, Scooter, walk, Jingles, walk, Jingle Bella. No running in the halls, shouted Mrs. Pinella.
Mrs. Wanda shot through, her Chromebook aside. Take cover, Miss Quick replied.
They're here too. They've come to second grade. Mrs. Penna hid in her classroom, and that's where she stayed.
The elves were everywhere and making a mess, hanging snowflakes and stars and making our school look its best.
Foundations, reading, Muzella, and Zern. These kids do so much,
said the elves.
There's so much to learn.
The elves were amazed with all the Google Meets and knew that the stamina was no easy feat.
The elves made their way, decorating the halls, and even put wrapping paper on Mrs. Mazurk's walls.
Mrs. Rodriguez's room was covered in glitter. As the elves raced on, their little feet went pitter, pitter, pitter.
Mrs. Toohey's room was next, but it was full of books. They wrapped the whole room, every single little nook.
Miss Gilbert, Mr. Testani, and Mrs. Pollock too raced to lock their doors from you know who.
But the elves were quick with decorations in hand. Nothing could stop these elves in all the land.
Miss Sebis and Mrs. Brown tried their best to hide, but before they knew it, the elves were inside.
Stop, shouted Miss Murphy. Now that is enough. Mrs. Field already brought in her decorating stuff.
But that didn't matter. The elves were here to work, to give the teachers and students a holiday perk.
Mrs. Marad tried to run, but she couldn't escape the elves. They covered her in glitter and silver jingle bells.
Mrs. Butler's room was finished before they had vanished. Feliz Navidad, or Merry Christmas in Spanish.
Mr. Ebert's room was finally done last. Rock and roll guitars, it really was a blast.
Finally, the elves had to stop. They'd been working all day and all night nonstop.
The elves were so proud of the hard work they accomplished, and the teachers, they really were astonished.
Be respectful, responsible, and safe,
They shouted out.
Always try your best,
Shouted Scout.
Self-management and self-awareness are important to think about. We have to take care of ourselves so we don't freak out.
It's time for us to go. We have so many more schools, so keep working hard on your self-management tools.
And just like that, they took off in flight. Happy holidays to all, and to all, a good night. Happy holidays!